Hi everyone, welcome back to this series of PMP practice questions. We've been through a lot over the last couple of sessions, and all in all we're looking at over 100 questions, but we're just doing them 10 at a time to make it nice and easy, but also they're scenario based. They're based on the PMBOK Guide 7th edition, which is the latest project management body of knowledge. So this is going to be a really great way to prepare for your exam. Let's get into the questions. The project has faced serious impacts in getting materials, with supply chains being disrupted and a global pandemic. Sounds familiar? And is currently 3 weeks behind schedule. Okay, you take this information to the next project steering committee meeting, where they advise they need more information on how much the project will end up costing. Okay, what will you do next? So we're behind schedule. How much is our budget going to be? Budget at completion or something similar? Let's see what we've got here. Use the current budget with no deviations until it runs out. That probably won't help us with what they need to know, so let's see if there's a better option. Use the project burn down chart to see the burn rate of accounting funds. That's more about the features or the user stories that are being completed. So we thought that it was going to go this fast and it's going this fast. We could use that for a bit of variance analysis, but I don't know if that's the best answer here. Use regression analysis, which is, so we see how it's tracking and we forecast that out into the future. So that's regression analysis, and it will end up around here to see the current rate of spending and see where the final cost will end up. I don't know if that's the best answer. Hopefully there's another one here. I'm running out of options. Use the project's estimate at completion, so EAC. There we go. So you've got your budget at completion, which is what we thought initially the budget would cost, and the estimate at completion is once we've been going, is there a variance? Are we lower or higher than we thought we were going to be? That ends up as our estimate at completion to show the steering committee the most likely final cost. I think that's probably going to be our one, even just by a process of elimination actually. So let's go with answer D. All right, wonderful. This question is talking about budget forecasts. Regression analysis may work, but the best answer is estimate at completion, which is the budget at completion divided by CPI, the cost performance index, which is earned value. So how much have we actually completed divided by the actual cost, how much have we actually spent. So yeah, there you go, that's the formula for that. You may not get the direct formula, but you'll get a similar question around these formulas like you will on the PMP exam. Pretty good. Page 104 under forecasts, directly from the PMBOK Guide. Wonderful stuff. How did you guys go with that one? All right, let's see what we've got next. You're working on an agile project where the project sponsor and executive managers require lengthy reports about how the project work is going each week. This takes you and the project team a considerable amount of time to do and reduces time spent on creating the actual product. This is non-value add work from the lean thinking and lean production method. What will you do next? Okay, let's see if we can reduce this somehow. And it's an agile project, so what do we do instead? We demonstrate to the customer, we have visible charts and visible areas, an information radiator that people can pull information from. Okay, reuse most of the information each week so your time spent on them is reduced. I like that. That's cheating a little bit actually, but I think there's probably a better answer there. Suggest the leaders come to the sprint review, that could be good, and gather any information that they need from the information radiator. There we go. That's our big, it's an open, visual, transparent area. It's got all of the items, the features that have been delivered, perhaps things like the team velocity, current team risks, maybe a burn down chart, how everything is going. They should be able to see everything there. And the sprint review is demonstrating the actual product that we've created in the last sprint. So whatever usable piece of value. I think that's probably going to be our one. Ask your project sponsor to wait until a steering committee meeting for the information. It's better if they can get it any time and get it live as well, which is what that information radiator is. Share your working project schedule and budget with the executives instead of creating the reports. That could work, and it's sort of similar to the information radiator, but that one's better because they can just go there anytime. This one, we have to actually physically share it. So this one is more live. I think let's go with answer B. Excellent work, all right. Agile teams showcase actual work completed at the sprint review. Information radiators, also known as big visible charts, are visible displays that allow anyone to pull that information from. They can get it anytime. They're often low tech and high touch. So it doesn't have to be, a technological thing. It could be a whiteboard, for example, but it's high touch because we're looking at it, changing it, updating it every day. And they contain information on work completed or remaining tasks, risks, things like the Kanban board, burn down chart, like we said. Page 108 under Information Radiators in the PMBOK Guide 7th edition. Wonderful stuff. How did you guys go? I think we're really getting into a lot of Agile questions here. So this is quite a good way that it's going. I think it's really good. Let's see what we've got next. You're working on a project that has planned as much as they can up front. You would like them to move to a more agile way of work. Currently the work is hidden. The team catches up only once a week in a working group, and it's hard to see what each person is working on and to keep track of it. What will you do next? Okay, this is where a lot of the agile tools and ways of working really help. It makes it visible and transparent, and we catch up more often as well. So let's see what we've got. Ask your team to report on their work in a written status update each day so you can keep track. I think no, that's that non-value added work that we're talking about before. Have more working group meetings so you're always up to date on what the team is working on. I think there's probably a better answer than that. We might have a stand-up meeting, but it's very short, 15 minutes each day usually, just so that we can remove blockers, make sure that everyone has what they need to get the work done for that day. Ask the team to move their work to a central visible task board, like a Kanban board, and then have a short meeting each day to discuss progress on their cards, like a stand-up meeting. I think that is probably where we're going. Remove the team meetings altogether and trust your team to get the work done. Definitely having trust in your team is a good thing, but also talking with your team is also a good thing. So I think this one, for our purposes, let's go with answer C. Excellent work, all right. This question is talking about stand-ups and a Kanban board. Task boards are part of the visual controls used where an increment of work moves from to do to in progress to done, maybe testing, sign-off, development, any phases that you need in your project. The team meets for 15 minutes each day to discuss progress and raise any impediments, which are blockers to their work. Page 109, Visual Controls, Task Boards in the PMBOK Guide if you want to go and check that out directly. Wonderful stuff. Really getting through these questions, so let's keep going. You're working on a hybrid project where the majority of the work has been planned up front. The team manages their work via a Kanban board and report on progress and blockers each day. As the project evolves, stakeholders have added more and more scope to the product, with one executive raising an urgent feature that needs to be added. What will you do next? Okay, so it's hybrid work. We've got a Kanban board, and we do the stand-ups with reporting on progress and blockers. But now we've got all of this scope coming in, so too much scope. What do we do then? We try to prioritize it. Let's see what we've got. Limit the number of cards in ready or to do, and ask the product owner to work with stakeholder requests, noting the need to swap the new item for an existing item. That is prioritization. So they might want to add something, but it's going to cost them because we're going to have to bump something out. We can only work on so much. So we want to be working on the highest priority items at all time, the highest value items. That's actually pretty good. Let's see what else we have just in case. Match the number of user stories to the team's velocity to ensure a sustainable pace. Probably not for now. Work with the stakeholder to raise a change request and note the outcome in a change log. That could work as well, but more obviously if we keep adding scope, it's not really a change, it's more of an addition. So for this one, where we've got a bit of an agile way of working, I think prioritization is still the best way. Review the impact of the scope change with the stakeholder using the work breakdown structure dictionary. I think we may not use that to review the impact. We might use a variance analysis. Is it going to impact our schedule or our cost? I think that's probably a bit of a red herring answer, that one. So let's go with answer A. Excellent work. All right. As a hybrid project using Kanban and some agile ceremonies, the most appropriate way to manage the work and scope is by using a work in progress limit on the board. The product owner has the final say on prioritizing features and scope, so they work with the stakeholders to ensure they understand that something might be deprioritized by adding a new feature. And sometimes that's hard for executives to handle, but we have to be firm and strong, and with a strong product owner in place who can make them, can help them understand that, then obviously, again, as long as we're delivering the highest value stuff, it shouldn't be a problem. Page 110 under Kanban board in the PMBOK Guide 7th edition. All right, really, really doing well. And we're nearly halfway through this section, so you're doing a great job. Let's keep going. You're working as a product owner in an agile team, where the main measure of project success is the number of features delivered into production. Okay, that's good to know. Over the past 6 months, the team have delivered the highest number of features your organization has ever seen. That's interesting. However, customers are starting to complain about issues and bugs in the product. What will you do next? This is super interesting, actually. So our measure of success is the number of features. And so what does the team do? They deliver as many features as they possibly can, but at the cost of everything else, by the sounds of it, because now we've got bugs and we've got issues and all of these things. So it's actually not the best quality product. However, we are meeting our success measures. We're moving quickly. So how do we fix this, or how do we help this? What will we do next? Ask the team to work harder. Okay, oh gosh. You know what, there's definitely better answers than this, especially when we're talking about sustainable pace in an agile team. Very important. To deliver more features and fix the product issues, possibly a better answer there. Adjust the product metrics to include customer satisfaction and quality measures. Oh, this actually could work, because we're adjusting the way we're measuring the team. So now we're also focusing on customer happiness or customer satisfaction. So we can deliver quickly, but we also have to meet customer satisfaction measures. And so you'll see the behavior change as we change what we measure in a project team. I can't remember what it's called. It's like Hawthorne's something. It's like a fallacy, like a bias that we have. I can't remember exactly the name of it, but maybe we'll get a tip in the answer. Add a Slack card of 5 points in the sprint backlog to deal with the technical debt. It may not just be technical debt, although yes, I mean, that's actually pretty good. That's a pretty good answer, actually. So yes, we definitely want to be doing that, reducing the technical debt, reducing the defects and issues, definitely. But how do we actually deal with the root cause of the issue? So these are both good, but I think we'll still go with answer B. Remove customer comments and feedback completely until you've finished delivering all the features. So I guess they can't get mad at us if we're not measuring it at all, but then we stick our head in the sand and all of a sudden it just gets worse. So for our purposes, we've got 2 good answers there. They're both good. Let's go to the root cause of the issue. Let's fix the measures and see if that helps initially. Answer B. Okay, great. Oh yeah, there it is. The Hawthorne effect. There you go. So I can't remember, it's by someone called Hawthorne, I think, obviously. And so what we measure influences the behavior of our team. In this case, we measure the number of features only, and the team delivered those features, but at the cost of quality and customer satisfaction. By adding measures for those 2 things, that will balance out the team's behavior. Wonderful, good, wonderful thing to know, really, really important stuff, and good for the real world as well in your own project and in your own team when you're leading and managing for yourself. Page 112, measurement pitfalls, the Hawthorne effect. That is really cool, a really good one to know. You know what else is really cool is we are halfway through this little section, so you are doing an amazing job. This is tricky stuff, but we're really getting through this together. You've been working on a project for the past 8 months. Your project team have been approached by multiple stakeholders for reporting on various performance measures about the project and the product area. Now, a large amount of their time is spent on creating these reports for others, and they've escalated this issue to you. What will you do next? Okay. And this will happen in your real project working life as well. You'll get people approaching your team, asking them to do things. All of a sudden, their time is spent on other things that they need to be, instead of the real valuable work, delivering the product for your project. So how do we get around this? Ask the project stakeholders to stop interacting with your team. I mean, that's a maybe, but also maybe we need them to interact for other things. So we can't just cut them off altogether. Let's put a maybe for that one for now. Spend a portion of your project budget to automate the reports for your stakeholders. That could be pretty good. Yeah, another decent idea. Work with the team, including the stakeholders, to only measure things that will facilitate a decision. Help avoid an issue or increase project performance. Wow. Okay, that's very deep, that answer, and I really like that. Again, we're going way back to the root cause and the root thing that will solve this. So we're measuring things that will, so we're still engaging with our stakeholders as well. So that makes this one not the best, because we actually want to engage with them, get those answers, and we want to facilitate decisions, avoid issues, and increase our project performance. So we still want to talk with people and get those answers, and that will actually help. I think that's actually pretty good. We could automate these reports as well, but we also want to talk and communicate and collaborate. So let's see what the last one is just in case. Invite your stakeholders to your sprint reviews so they can see a working feature in practice. Pretty good. Again, good practice to do. Definitely like it. Like this one as well. But the collaboration aspect and getting back to the root cause of it, let's go with answer C. There it is. The intent in measuring and displaying data is to learn and improve. To optimize project performance and efficiency, only measure and report information that will allow the project team to learn, facilitate a decision, improve some aspect of performance, help avoid an issue, or help prevent performance deterioration in the future. So we've got page 114 under Growing and Improving in the PMBOK Guide. And that's really good to know. Another very handy tip for the real world and for the exam. How did you guys go with that one? All right, only a few to go. Let's get into it. You're working on a project where there is a significant amount of uncertainty about the requirements. There is also a legislative change coming, and no one knows what it will mean for your industry. As a project manager, how do you deal with this uncertainty? Oh, this is good. And we've looked at this before where we've got volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And there's different ways of dealing with this. The PMBOK Guide actually goes into this in a fair amount of detail, probably because projects have a lot of all of these things. And that's what makes them so difficult to deal with and why we need this toolkit to deal with them. So it's actually pretty cool. Let's see if we've got any good options here. So uncertainty. Perform additional planning for your project to improve your view on scope management. Maybe we can make it less certain with more planning. That's a low maybe though. I think there's better options there. Hold additional retrospectives to capture challenges and improvements from your team. Again, that doesn't help us with the uncertainty because we're still having to work through, how do we figure out and make things more certain? Create a risk assessment of all possible project risks, maybe, with their risk ratings and owners. Potentially. Is there a better option there? That's a maybe-ish. All of the risks. Now we're making, now we've got ways of dealing with future risks and making things less uncertain for that way. That's pretty good. Gather information and prepare for multiple outcomes and build team resilience through processes and training. Definitely the multiple outcomes, I think. If things are uncertain, we can prepare for this one, that one, and that one, and that one. And that's sort of what the risk question is doing. But this one adds building team resilience. So when we're working with uncertainty, some people just are not good at working with that. So how do we build team resilience through processes and training? So we help them become more resilient to uncertainty in the future. I think that's actually pretty good. Tackles it from a few different angles. Let's go with answer D. Excellent. This question is about general uncertainty and risk. Uncertainty cannot be predicted precisely, and methods for responding to uncertainty include gathering information, preparing for multiple outcomes, using set-based design, so maybe we're figuring out prototypes and that sort of thing to work our way through it, and building in resilience for our team. Page 118 under General Uncertainty, and that's a really good one to check out in the PMBOK Guide 7th edition. How did you guys go with that one? All right, only a few to go. Let's get into it. You're working on a project with a vendor where there is significant ambiguity involved. Okay, again, VUCA, ambiguity, and multiple options that the team could go with. Many outcomes are possible that have varying degrees of impact to improve the situation. So what are we going to do next? So we've got many outcomes. It's ambiguous. Which way do we choose? Use experiments and prototypes and progressive elaboration to work your way through it. That actually sounds awesome. So that sounds perfect. And progressive elaboration is that agile way of working. We're delivering something. Maybe it is just a prototype, getting the feedback on it. Yes, is it good? Is it working? And then, adjusting and moving forward and going again, getting that feedback. We're progressively elaborating. And we don't have to do that with a full thing. We can just use a prototype to do that. So that's actually pretty good. Let's see what else we have. Ask your team for additional reporting around different options so you can make an informed decision. Probably not the best one for ambiguity. Add all the different options into your project scope so all your bases are covered. What are we going to do then? How do we work through the ambiguity? It's still going to be ambiguous, isn't it? Even we've still got all of those options to choose from. Work more closely with your senior users so they can inform you of the product requirements. I think that's good practice in general, but won't help us directly with the ambiguity. This one is definitely the best option. Let's go with answer A. Excellent work. This question is on ambiguity. Now that I've said that so much, there are two different types of ambiguity. Conceptual, where something is hard to understand, that's pretty good, and situational, where there are multiple options and multiple outcomes. And the reason this, VUCA, was it actually came from the military. So it was, and for various reasons, because in a military environment, you're going into an environment that is or could be volatile. It could be ambiguous. We're not sure. There's lots of different options. It could be complex. There's lots of things interacting with each other and changing the outcome. So this is, even though it came from the military, many years ago, it actually works perfectly in a project environment because all those things are present for us. All of this complexity, uncertainty, it happens in a day-to-day, and we have to work through it as project managers. So use progressive elaboration, just like we said, experiments and prototypes to work through this ambiguity. And we can do that in any project environment, physical, software related, any of those things. Page 120 under ambiguity in the PMBOK Guide. Wonderful work, guys. Last two questions, you're doing great. You're working on a project to improve some software that has been in production for over 17 years, and it's been modified extensively over that time. It also integrates with many other systems within your organization. Gosh, this sounds like complexity, doesn't it? So we've got an old system, it interacts with many other systems, so it makes things quite complex. You cannot decide which features to deliver first. How will you deal with the complexity? Oh, that's good. Okay, we're definitely on the right track here. List out the possible features you can deliver and prioritize them by cost over benefit. That's pretty good. That's definitely good practice. Let's see what else we have just in case. Simulate decoupling connecting parts to simplify the number of variables. Okay, and we're simplifying, and so we're decoupling this and decoupling this. Now, all of a sudden, it's not interacting with 5 things, or or the other way around, and it's a little bit simpler to deal with. So now, I think that reduces some of that complexity. So we just do that in a simulation. We don't have to actually physically do that, but we can check that out and see what would happen. Then reframe your view by brainstorming with a diverse set of stakeholders. We need lots of different viewpoints, hopefully, to get the information we need to reduce that complexity. I think that's actually pretty good. What else have we got just in case? Provide an incentive for your project team for whoever can solve this complex problem. I think we have to work together on this and use the actual tools and methods for reducing complexity. Form a business case for a third-party system to replace the existing complex system to transfer the risk of delivery. That, that may not reduce the complexity. So we still have to go through this process of critical thinking and reducing the complexity. Just outsourcing it may actually increase the complexity. We don't know. So I think that's a no for now. Let's go with answer B. Excellent. All right, this question is on complexity, and methods for dealing with complexity include systems-based decoupling and simulation, reframing by getting diversity and balanced views, process-based, so iterating forward, engaging stakeholders, and using error-proofing or a fail-safe. So how can we make it impossible to make a mistake, or something stops if it has an error? So we've got page 121 under complexity in the PMBOK guide. Wonderful stuff. And what else is wonderful is that we've made it to the last question in this little section. And I've learned a whole bunch about the PMBOK guide 7th edition, and I hope you have too. Especially I love that volatility and VUCA stuff, because you see it every day, and it's good to have tools to deal with that. Let's do this. You're working on a project that requires a very particular programming skill set, like Liam Neeson. He or she has a very particular set of skills, programming skills, that are not very common. Excellent. It's also the hottest job market the industry has seen in 2 decades. Gosh, of course. People are hard to come by and they leave often. The programming language is also evolving at a quick pace. What will you do next? Okay, so we need this programming skill. People are hard to find. How do we work with this? So is this another one of our VUCA things? Is it volatility? It sounds like it could be a volatile environment. And I think we've done all the others, so that might be a clue for us. All right, how do we deal with volatility? Develop the product from scratch in a more common programming language? Maybe there's better answers. Ask your whole team to learn the programming skill set to cover the risk. I mean, may not be very feasible for us to do that. We might still need to keep delivering. We don't have the time for it, but it's okay. In an unlimited world, that would work. Use alternatives analysis, that sounds promising, to gather different options and ensure a sufficient cost reserve to help complete your project. Okay, that sounds like a very pragmatic or mature approach. So we've got different options just in case, and we can brainstorm those. And also just in case, we've got a cost reserve if something does go wrong, or if we need to tap into that as people come and go. That's pretty good. I think that makes sense. Raise a risk to your project completion with the threat of project team member skill sets. Yes, that's also good practice. These are all fine answers, but I think the best answer for us is that answer C for volatility. I think it is. Let's see. And it is. We got it. Very good. The question is referring to volatility, which is an environment that is subject to rapid and unpredictable change, including ongoing fluctuations in available skill sets or materials. Alternative analysis and cost reserves are ways to deal with volatility. Page 122 under volatility in the PMBOK guide 7th edition. And we made it. You made it. Amazing stuff. I had a whole bunch of fun with this set of questions. I thought this was really, really good. Loved all of that volatility stuff. Good stuff to find out about. But more importantly, what you're doing is something amazing for your life and for your career. As you can see, these skills are so valuable in real-world environments, not just in an exam. It's so powerful. You're doing the right thing. I truly believe that you can pass the PMP as well. You're doing an amazing job. Keep going, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.